Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do a video on the fuel filters today, and then I'm going to do a part 2 for the filters for the air filter and the cabin filter. So I normally do this maintenance myself just because it's pretty easy for the most part. I don't do oil changes just because I like them to be documented, and I do not do like any diff or transmission changes because, you know, again, I like those things to be documented. But for the most part, the filter changes are extremely easy, and the parts I get from Gino's Garage are a lot cheaper than what I can get at the dealership. So today, this will be part 1. We'll work on the fuel filters today. I bought some more things. I did a video probably about a year ago now, maybe a little bit less than that. Actually, it's actually been over a year. Excuse me, it's been over a year. And I didn't have all the right tools, so today we're going to change that. I have a bunch of new things. You definitely want to watch this video, so let's go ahead and get into it. Before we get started, if you are planning on doing your own fuel filter change, you want to get this 1-inch piping. It's called ID. They say Rollerflex food grade. I got this off Amazon, and if I remember, I'll put a link in here for you guys. But you definitely want this. This should connect onto the original tubing in the truck. This will make life a lot easier, because what happens is when you do your fuel filter change, you have to empty them out basically, and this helps with the mess basically. So I think that if you are planning on doing this, strongly recommend you buy this. Now I'll go over this filter with you in the next video, and then this filter obviously too. But what I want you guys to see today is the fuel filter. So this is going to be the front fuel filter that goes in the engine bay. It's a little bit bigger than the chassis filter, but there you go. So this is what it looks like. I believe that this one pops when it goes in there, so just keep that in mind. And this next one is, as I said, goes on the chassis. Let's see, I don't know if it says it on there. There it is. That's the filter. This one's a lot easier than the front one, but today they're both going to be easy because of the tools that I purchased. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. Now here are all the tools that I used. So this is going to be a 28 socket, and you're going to need a swivel head because that fuel filter is at an awkward position. I use a 10-inch extension. This is going to be an 18-inch extension. This is what you're going to probably need, because that way you can clear your wrench easier, in my opinion. But this is a half inch. Actually, this is a half inch, and I would strongly recommend maybe a 3/8. I think for this job, that's all you really need, because you don't want to over tighten and damage anything. So be careful with that. And as you saw, we're going to be using this, and I'm going to allow the fuel to drain into here, and this is going to make that a lot easier, and you'll see that here in a second. Before we get started with the video, I wanted to just tell you to do this at your own risk. I thought this was pretty easy, but not everybody's going to have the same results. Now, I did want to show you where I purchased these filters from. I am on genosgarage.com. Strongly recommend you look these guys up. They have a lot of good things on their website, and I purchased these filters for $102. My local dealer wanted double this for these filters. In the next video, I'll show you what I paid for shipping for all 4 filters that I purchased from Gino's Garage, and I'll compare the price point with the dealer too. Now let's get back to the video. Alright guys, so I know it's really hard to see, but the first thing we have to do, you see that yellow piece right there? There's a clear tube that we have to take off, okay? And it's gonna look like this. So this was on there just now. It's not that long. It's probably about, what, maybe 8-10 inches maybe. And I'll be honest, like, I wish that they would just install longer like hoses for this. I just installed the new one, but let me show you what I had to do. So all I did was I just installed my extension on the end of the tube like this. I added some lithium grease, and I just forced it on there as best I could. I got it up to about this point here. I let it sit on there for probably about a minute or so. I pulled it off, and it pretty much opened up the top of this. And then I just wedged it back onto the housing for the fuel filter. And then it went on there really easy. Now, if you try to do it with just a lithium grease, you won't be able to bend it enough to get it on that little nipple. So I recommend just using your whatever you have, something similar to this, that you can kind of push in here and just stretch out the top of this, because once it gets on there, it'll pretty much return to its normal size, and then it should be secure. And even if it's not, you're just using it for drainage anyway. So let's go ahead and cut the tubing, and then I probably might just zip tie it somewhere on the suspension. Alright guys, so we are pretty much done with the tubing. So all I did was I just added a zip tie right here, and I may have to just do a quick disconnect thing I can do, maybe, I don't know, or I could just wrap this around this way just to keep it out of the way. Actually, you know what, that's all I need to do right there. This part of the suspension doesn't move, you know, left to right, but you know, these pieces will move. I think that this actually moves too, so I have to be careful with these, but for the most part, this part does not move. So I have it zip tied here. I will turn the steering wheel just to confirm it doesn't move, but yeah, this was really easy. And like I said, all I have to do is just, when I want to go empty those fuel filters, I can just put it in a bucket like this, and I'm good to go. So this should make life a lot easier, and I'll show you guys the drainage here in a second. But let me go ahead and turn the steering wheel. I'm gonna leave the camera under here so you guys can see, and then I can check the footage too, okay? There you have it. So the way I installed the hose is perfect. It should not get in the way of anything under there, and on the piece I have installed, it did not move. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and drain the fuel filter. The way you do that is you turn that yellow piece right there, I showed it to you earlier. You just pretty much turn it counterclockwise. Here it is. And like I said, I'll confirm that in a second. I'm gonna try to do it with just hand tightening and hand loosening for now, but if I need a Phillips head or anything like that, I'll let you know, okay? So let's go ahead and get that bucket so I can go ahead and get that drained. All right, so all I had to do was I just turned this counterclockwise, that yellow piece I showed you earlier, and so it's gonna be open, and now all I have to do now is untighten the fuel filter housing. Hopefully you guys can see it in there. It's like right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my extension through this way, and that should give us a perfect area for it to basically untighten that, okay? And I'm going to show it to you here in a second. Alright, so you can see it pretty much, the socket already on there. So I just basically just install it with this like that. I got to put the camera down, unfortunately, but that's how I normally do it. I don't go through this wiring just because I don't want it to get snagged on there. So just go ahead and have the socket on there, and then you can just install your extension. And then I'll go ahead and untighten it, and then we're gonna see how much it's gonna drain down below. All right, so the top is off. You have to turn it counterclockwise in order for it to come off. And then here's pretty much what it is. A little bit of it started coming out on the side of it. I don't know why, but yeah, here it is. So let me go ahead and get the filter out. I'm gonna get a rag or something. I don't want to get these on my hand today. There is a washer in here that you have to use. There's gonna be one inside of here. It actually just goes around the housing right there. See it? This goes on the outside. Here, let me see if I can get you some light. So if you can see the housing, like where it twists on, that's where the ring goes on. Let me see if I can zoom in. So you can see it perfectly right there. So it's right here. It goes on right there. So you're gonna replace this old one and put the new one on, okay? So here is a comparison of these filters. Now these filters don't have that much miles on them because I had to change these because I got bad diesel. This one is definitely a little bit different. Make sure I got the right one, but yeah, this says 2013 and later. There you go. But yeah, this one looks like a little bit better filter, I guess, but it doesn't matter. I guess they must have made some updates to it, but we're gonna go ahead and get this one inside. And like I mentioned earlier, we have to put the washer on the outside. I gotta pull that last one out there.
I left this for a little bit just because I had to go do something real quickly. So I did have the top off, but I covered it up. You don't want to get dust inside of here, and you want to put a rag like over the inside of it, like this kind of rag, just so you don't get stuff inside the fuel filter. You want to protect it at all costs. You really shouldn't stop if you're going to do this, but I had to go out for a second. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put this back in. We're going to tighten everything back up, and then we're going to start working on the next one. Alright guys, so I have the filter pretty much back in here. So I'm going to see if you can hear that popping sound it makes when you push it in securely. But make sure you put a little bit of diesel on that little washer, because that's how the last one was. And then, like I said, you hear like a popping sound, and when you try to push up on it, there is some resistance. So just keep that in mind when you're going to install the new filter. But like I said, all is good. It's in there secure. So like I said, let's go ahead and put this top back on, and we are good to go for the front one. So I hand tightened the top for the most part, but I turned it a few more times before it got secure. But do not over tighten this stuff. You don't need it like so tight to where you start cracking stuff. So just be careful. So now we gotta turn this little yellow dial clockwise, and we are done with the first filter. Now let's go ahead and find out where the other filter is, okay? Gee whiz, that's a lot of diesel. That's a lot of diesel. I should have put this in a cleaner container so I could reuse this, but it doesn't matter. All right, so let's go ahead and go out back again. Like I said, look how much tubing I have left too. Like, that's a lot. So you do get to keep quite a bit of it. And like I said, all I'm going to do is wrap that up, and that'll be nice and secure, okay? So this is going to be the front of your leaf springs if you have a 3500. If you don't have a 3500, just look for the exhaust, and then look for the drive shaft. This is pretty much the end of it there, and then that filter is pretty much in between your exhaust and your drive shaft, and it's right there. So I don't think that my tubing's gonna work on this one. I did not notice that, guys. Holy crap, that's not good. So I guess I have to make a little bit of a mess back here. So I may have to figure out, that might be like a 1/2 inch, or it could even be 3/8 for the tubing. But there's a little piece here that you have to twist, and then like I said, the diesel is going to come out. But let me see if I can make something work with this, because I don't want to get a mess back here. Okay, so I bent the end piece of this ID tubing, this clear tubing right here, and I was able to get it to stay. So let's see, hopefully it sticks. So when you start turning this counterclockwise, you should see, oh, there it is. Diesel's coming out. So you don't want to do it all the way. So about right there, because if you take it all the way out, it'll squirt out, basically. So we'll let this do this for maybe about, I might let this do it for like 5 minutes. I want to get as much out as possible, because yeah, this is the messy filter. And yeah, everything's working perfectly. I might need to, oh gosh, I gotta put the camera down because I have to make sure this piece up here doesn't fall out, okay? But this is okay. I just bent the end piece of the tubing and it worked perfectly. All right, and that's pretty much it. So this tubing is really good if you somehow manage to get water in your diesel. That way you can drain out these filters. But yeah, this is done. I mean, it took about 3 minutes or so. I'll leave this still like halfway, and hopefully don't get any diesel in here. So I'll go ahead and start untwisting this. I'm gonna do it counterclockwise, and then I'll show you guys the filter, and then we're gonna pretty much wrap this thing up. Here's the difference between the back filters. This filter is really messy, guys. So you're gonna have to have a big pan out back, and I over tightened this one a little too much, so just keep that in mind. But you have to make sure you put this washer right here, so it goes right here on the housing. So just keep that in mind, okay? The very last thing you have to do is you have to prime the engine. Now I'm gonna put this in the video here so you guys can see it a little bit better, but All you have to do is turn the ignition switch to the run position. So run, right there. All right. And then you're going to wait 4 seconds, then turn the ignition switch off. And then you're gonna repeat that 4 times, okay? So, okay. I lost count. I think that was the second time there. This is the third time. And fourth. And it should start right up, it says. Okay? Start the engine. And it says do not engage the starter for more than 15 seconds at a time. Allow 2 minutes between cranking intervals. So let's do it. Oh wow. So it started right up actually. Nice. The last time I did this, it did that. So okay, so yeah, so I guess we have to go through the sequence again. So all you're doing is just priming the engine basically. So let's just go through it one last time. I won't bore you guys with this. Hold on. So it finally started and it stayed on this time. It had a long crank for about 5 seconds and then it just turned on, but it has not turned off again. So the last step here, and then we are done, is you got to reset the gauge here. All right, I believe it's right. Oh, right there. All right, so all you have to do is just hold this little triangle down that's pointing to the right. Confirm. Yes, and she's done.
But hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. I'm getting ready to sell this trailer, by the way. It's about to go soon. And we're about to go on the road full time with the RV again. So I have to get this bad boy in top shape. So yeah, hopefully we will start doing some vlogs for you guys. I may not be doing as much auto reviews, but we'll see how everything works out. But I'm going to be putting this truck back to the test again. I mean, I've already towed like 10,000 miles or something like that with this truck. Over 10,000 miles. So it should be interesting to see how well it does. In the next video, as I said, we're going to do the air filter and the cabin filter, but I'm going to show you guys something that you should definitely do when you do these installs. It's something that you should do on your own so they're done the correct way. See you guys in the next video.